My name is Patrick Mensah, and I joined the military on I think 24th January 2004. Did basic training at Pembrite, really, in Surrey. Did the 12 weeks training there, basic military skills, and then after that, I went on to Sonoma to do my phase two training. And when I finished my phase two training, I got posted to my first unit, which was 1 RRW in Germany, in Barker Barracks, I think in 2004. I think I got that in October, I think. Yeah, so yeah, I stayed with them. And shortly after, RRW left and 1 PWR took over. So I deployed to Iraq in 2006 with 1 PWR. And we were in Shaibalok base then. We're doing normal military stuff. And then we had to do a deployment within the deployment. So we went to Alamara. I think it was somewhere in the northern part of Iraq, if my memory serves me right. So we were there for a while, and we had to close camps. So we had to, pack down and come back to Shaibalok base. And the night before, I think the early hours in the morning, right through to the afternoon, it was one of the most horrific things that I've experienced in my life. I never thought, I would survive. We had an incoming attack because they knew we were not really all together because we're closing down. And I think after everything died down, our radar picked about maybe 115 or 120 mortar rounds that fell in the camp and then around our camp. It was only by God's grace that anybody survived. It was just unbelievable. I was so scared. If you had asked me my name back then, I couldn't tell you. So luckily, that trauma, it was just crazy. I didn't know how, but we were able to survive that, and we got back to Shaibalok base, and everything, back to normal as if nothing happened. And yeah, and luckily we finished that tour. We got back, and when I got back, we're still in Germany, Paderborn then. So I got posted to ARC Support Battalion, which is Mönchengladbach JHQ. That was the headquarters by then in JHQ. So I was with ARC Support Battalion for I think for a year or probably a couple of months. Then I got back to UK. I got posted to 2 Para Colchester. That was 2008. Yeah, so I was with 2 Para Colchester for maybe 2 or 3 months or so, and then off again. We went to Afghanistan. That was 2008, and we were in Combustion then for a couple of months, maybe 1 or 2 months, and then we deployed again within the deployment to Kajaki. So Kajaki was where we were based. So it was kind of a merger between 2 Para and 3 Para because I was attached to 2 Para. So we were in a very small camp, and we were doing the normal operations and that. So I also had another encounter there, and we were going on patrols, and unfortunately, I was supposed to be driving the ambulance, but something happened, and I had to pick up some stuff from the helipad. So there was a bit of a reshuffle, so I wasn't driving the ambulance, and on the patrol, the ambulance unfortunately hit an IED, and it got mangled. And one of my best mates was driving it, and yeah, it was awful. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's one of the hardest things, but as we do, yeah, we kind of brushed it aside, and yeah, man up, as they say. So yeah, and then we finished the tour. But these are some of the things that have haunted me for a long time, and it still does. And yeah, so we finished the tour and came back to Colchester, 2008 November, and yeah, right after, I think a couple of months after, I got posted back to Germany again. So I went to from there. I went to 8 Engineer Regiment. I think it was in Hamel. Was in Hamel. Yeah. So I was with them for a while, and yeah, I think a year or two. I'm not sure. Maybe a year and a bit. Yeah. And then I left them to Gütersloh. I went to logistics support regiment, and I was with 76 Squadron, and yeah, we I was there for a bit, and then um, I from 76 Squadron, I got asked to work in the welfare office for a bit. So I did work in the welfare office, doing the housing NCO bit, looking after the deployment of the families and their housing needs and that. So I got also the opportunity to brush shoulders a little bit with the commanding officer and that, because I got tasked, I think, on 4 occasions to do the cultural day events I organized. So I think one of he's now a full colonel now. Yeah, so the colonel of 2 Logistics Support Regiment was Mike Caldicott was his name. He's really much into this cultural diversity of the military and how he wanted to show it off and our asset that we've got. So I kind of had the opportunity to organize, cultural days. I organized 1 squadron one, and then 1 regiment one, and then 1 garrison one. So it was kind of a task, but it was enjoyable. So yeah, I did that, and yeah, we really enjoyed, and I also had that opportunity to polish up my organization skills, and bringing all the Commonwealth guys together, and also working together. So I did that, and I think 2014 the regiment closed down, it disbanded. So I moved on from there to Aldershot 27 Transport Regiment. Yeah, 27 Transport Regiment in Aldershot. And when I got to the squadron, I was there for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then I got asked to go to the welfare office again in 27 Regiment in Aldershot. So yeah, I was there for almost maybe 6 or 8 months, and things started getting worse, and my symptoms started coming to the fore. The PTSD of everything that I've experienced, because like a pressure bottle, when you've packed something too much, and something small might trigger it up, and then it might flare up. So yeah, I couldn't manage anymore. So and so I got sent to the PRU, Personnel Recovery Unit in Wellington Barracks in Westminster. Yeah, that was 2016. So I was there, and I was doing my recovery bit, and yeah, so we even when I was there, we went on one of the recovery training stuff. So I had that opportunity, and I was interviewed by the BBC as well on a program called The People Remember. That was aired in 2016, I guess. So yeah, so that was my package, and I after I finished my my recovery there, I got discharged, and during that transition, I was weighing up what to do with myself, and also with my challenges. So I just thought, okay, maybe I should just do some education bit with my welfare background that I did in the military. So that prompted me to go into social work. So I applied for a social work degree South Bank University, and yeah, I got accepted. So I went, and yeah, it was one of the most challenging, courses that I've ever done, because I mean, coming from the military and I haven't been studying for a while, but um, I surprised myself. I graduated with a first class, and I couldn't believe it. So yeah, so when I graduated, I did a bit of uh, council work. I was with Croydon Council, did my placement with them, and when I finished, and they offered the job, and I thought, I'm going to stay in here, and but am I be having that feeling that I should top up my education? I said, no, I'm going straight to do my master's and try and finish my education bit. So if I'm working, it will be on the job learning rather than having to do any academic stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I applied for because of my background and my challenges with the PTSD, and so I wanted to know a bit more about how the brain works and all these stuff. What informed my applying for that course was that when I got to Croydon Council, I was placed in the referral and assessment team within the families unit, so children and families sector. That prompted me to go into this MSc Child and Adolescent Mental Health, which I'm pursuing right now with UCL, University College of London. So yeah, I'm into it now. We got 9 modules, and I've completed 4, and I've passed all of them. So hopefully it's going great. Yeah. I want to talk about the culture, the culture of stigma, within the military itself in terms of mental health. The culture is not very healthy. And though we all detest and hate this pandemic, one aspect of it that I'm happy about is that it is made mental health a universal problem for all of us, for people to see that we are not invincible, regardless of who you are. Anybody could, suffer from mental health. So I am happy that this is really at the top of the agenda, that people really know how it feels like. So even if people are struggling, the conversation should be encouraged within the military, culture, so people are able to seek help and get their support, and also the resources be made available to the military to be able to facilitate these help, and in terms of the transition, if you are like I was, if you're medically discharged, then you would get relocated into, because here that I'm with Hague Housing is a military veterans, and then they've got others, but it's not everybody who is that very fortunate, depending on which unit you are and what regiment you are and how good their admins are. It depends on what services you will get, because I know lots of the guys, they were PAP 10. PAP 10 is administrative discharge, which you don't get anything though you've been injured by the military, but depending on how you are handled or how your case is, yeah, they can just discharge you and you will get nothing. You have to find your own way. I would say I was very lucky, and I was medically discharged, so I kind of got some level of support and reintegration to some extent. Yeah, there was support with the DCMH, the DCMH, because um, at the recovery, PRU, the personal recovery unit in Westminster, they will schedule your personal recovery officer will schedule your recovery and when you have to. But I did some sessions with the DCMH mental health team. It was good, you know, but I would say it wasn't enough. You know, it was not enough. It was not enough. Though I had some top up when I left, you know, with the NHS and that, but still, it takes time. You know, it takes time, and also it depends on the individual. Yeah, it depends on the individual, because if the person, you know, facilitating the therapy is, if there's no connection, the person won't open up to, you know. So there are so many factors that goes into the recovery thing. Yeah. Yeah, so whilst I was with two logistics support regiment in Germany, we had a deployment exercise training phase. So we were just within the local area. So we had have a training camp in Senilaga. So we went there, and when we went, it was a 3 day exercise. No, it was a 1 week exercise that was planned. But when we went, the following morning, it had snowed so much, and it was about minus 18, and we had to, you know, pitch our tent, you know, we had to pitch it on the snow, and it was just freezing, and people were crying within in the night. And yeah, I sustained non-freezing cold injury to my hands and feet, and yeah, but the exercise was cancelled. Lots of people got injured on that exercise, but uh, unfortunately, some of them were popped in and discharged. But with this bravado of, you know, the mindset that, you know, you got to be tough and you got to, you know, brace, you know, the challenges, you know. But on that aspect, you know, I remember in the Royal Office, because our regiment deployed to Afghanistan, but I was not on the deployment. But the colonel came back, and they were going, you know, they came on Ireland and they were returning to theater, and something traumatic happened. When on their flight going, the aircraft lost power, and yeah, the engine failed, and it was just braced for crashing, and something, you know, extraordinary happened. It regained power, and I think it got down to about maybe 800, you know, feet up, you know, right from, it just came down. And yeah, so I was listening to the story from one of the lance corporals, and they were all traumatized, but you know, it was just very nothing happened, and it was very surreal. So this kind of reinforces, you know, with my injury and with what happened, it is kind of a kind of a culture or something that is, you know, imprinted in the military mindset, that, you know, you don't talk about your feelings, you get on with it, you know, and you know what I mean. Yeah, so that was that bit that I really wanted to put across. Yeah.